UFC 287, Adesanya versus Pereira, PrizePicks breakdown. I've got 6 spots for you this week to attack on the UFC 287 card. And one of the great things about UFC on PrizePicks is here I'm doing this video on Monday, and we have all week to keep some of these plays in our back pocket. And that is the key, because a lot of plays pop up in real time for PrizePicks that you don't have a pairing with, and we're going to use a lot of these for those pairings. Now, going back, this is going back the last 4 events here on this breakdown. We are 15-6 for about a 72% hit rate, which is spectacular. But even more important for me, we're 4-0 on core plays. We had the Bo Nickel play in about 4 weeks ago, then the Peter Yan play. 2 weeks ago, we had Jojo Wood, and in the last event, Corey Sandhagen on significant strikes. So we've hit 4-0 on our core plays for these, and I've got another core play for this one. But the more important thing for this UFC breakdown is we're really just going to nail each one. We're going to talk about the reasoning, what the odds say, and why some of these spots are so much better in terms of skewed in our favor compared to what we can see on just regular MLB or NBA props, where those are on sports books a lot of the time, and you just will never see one skewed very, very heavily in your favor. One of the nice things about every single play that I'm going to talk about today is none of them are bettable on a sports book. And that's the key. It requires breaking down the fight, understanding how things can go down, how each fighter might approach the fight. And that's a key differentiator for us. So we're going to jump right into this with our first play of this card. And that's Luana Pinheiro over 1.5 takedowns. I love the takedown props. Again, mostly because you can't bet these. It's huge. So hopefully these lines won't move too much, but I do want to note that in the DFS Army PrizePicks Discord, we are giving out these plays like in advance of this video coming out, just in case, because I know a lot of times people have said, hey, I watch your video, the lines move. They move pretty quickly after we put these videos out. So I put these plays out in the DFS Army Discord and the PrizePicks channel well in advance. And I also want to note that how important it is to have some of these MMA plays in your back pocket if you're subscribed and you're getting these picks. Like, we're throwing plays out. Will Lynn's working, MLB live plays, all of that stuff. So they are coming nonstop in the Discord, these plus EV plays, but a lot of times you don't have a pairing for them. So this Luana Pinheiro play is something that you can pair with anything that kind of pops up to get a 4 flex or a 5 flex or a 2 play power play lineup. So here's the deal with Pinheiro. First of all, this fight is minus 312 to go to decision, meaning it is highly likely that we get 3 full rounds to work with. Her opponent, Michelle Waterson, is actually a well-rounded fighter, and she brings a solid but not spectacular 67% career takedown defense to the table. Waterson was taken down 3 times in her fight with Joanna Jędrzejczyk back in 2019, although she was also only taken down once by Carla Esparza in a different fight, and Carla is a bit of a grappler, so there's always risk here. But what I like about Luana is she's an extremely aggressive grappler, successfully achieving 4.76 takedowns per 15 minutes on average. So the numbers just don't add up here. If this goes the full 3 rounds, as it looks like it should, I would expect Luana to be going for takedowns, a lot of it. Now, again, maybe Michelle Waterson can stop all these takedowns and just completely stuff Luana. She'll know what Luana's trying to do. But in women's MMA, that's just so unlikely. So give me Luana over 1.5 takedowns as the first leg of our lineup. All right, next up. Oh, really important here. This is a tier 2 play. I'm giving this a 70% chance of hitting for us. So this is a spot that you could throw in your 5 flexes, your 6 flexes, your 2 play power plays, whatever you want. Use this as a filler spot because we're going to get about a 70% probability of this one hitting for us. All right, next up, Burns under 2.5 take. I'm super, super confident in this one. So Burns under 2.5 takedowns. Gilbert Burns is taking on Jorge Masvidal. But here's the thing, and Burns is known as the grappler, and Jorge Masvidal is most certainly known as more of the striker. But Jorge Masvidal is super well-rounded, first of all. Second of all, Burns the most takedowns he's ever had in a fight is 3, and more often than not, he's getting just 1 or 2. He's not been an aggressive grappler throughout his career. That could change. He's getting older. Maybe he's up against a better striker here in Jorge, and he just gets crazy aggressive with the takedowns. But that just hasn't been what he's done for most of his career. Now, working in our favor, listen, if Burns gets a takedown and a submission in round 1, great. We win, right? So the early finish here is working in our favor. The fight is minus 155 to end inside a distance. So, Burns is not a fighter that has ever gotten, as far as I know, 2 takedowns in a single round. It's never more than 1. So, if the fight ends early, great. But even if it doesn't, he's never landed more than 3 to fight. Jorge Masvidal has a 74% career takedown defense. He's not great in terms of takedown defense, but he's good enough. And Burns is just not as aggressive of a grappler as people think. So, I like this spot. This is a tier 3 spot for me, meaning not a core I want to build around, because it certainly could happen, I guess. But I feel really confident in this one as well. Throw it in your parlays, throw it in your lineups, in your 5 flexes, your 6 flexes, whatever you want. And reminder, if you want this type of content, you want to get these videos when they come out, you've got to hit subscribe. You got to like the channel, not like, right? Got to follow and subscribe to the channel so you know when these videos are coming out, because like I said, you might be watching this. Some of these lines are going to move. They usually do after I drop one of these videos. So just be aware of that and make sure you're not just liking the channel, but you're hitting the notification bell so that you're notified when these videos drop. So just a reminder there. Okay. Next up, Ignacio Nacho Bahamondes, more than 70.5 significant strikes. And again, let's talk about this spot here. You're like, I don't care. Just give me the plays, geek. No, you will listen to my reasoning. All right. So this is basically a bet on how long this fight will last. Ignacio is a crazy high volume striker. He's landing 8.3 significant strikes per minute. Now, for reference, a regular striker, like an average, is about 5. Okay, a below average is hitting about 3.5. So he's at 8.3 significant strikes per minute. That is effectively 2 standard deviation units above the mean for striking volume. At that pace, he only needs 2 full rounds of striking to get there. Remember, these are 5-minute rounds, and if you're landing, let's call it 8 strikes per minute times 5, that's 40 strikes. So by the end of round 2, we should be over 70.5. Now, the fight is minus 195 to go over 1.5 rounds. So the starts round 3 prop does not exist yet, but I think it's going to be somewhere in the range of minus 160, and that's what we need. So this is skewed in our favor. As long as the fight doesn't end early, neither one of these fighters, so his opponent, Trey Ogden, does not go for takedowns. So chances are this fight is going to stay standing. So basically, we just need 2 to 2.5 rounds. We have above 58% odds of that happening. So this puts it in solid T3 territory. This is a spot in particular that I'm going to add to my 5 and 6 flex plays. It is not one that I'm going to use in a 2-play power play, because I'm going to give this one just right at 60% or maybe slightly sub 60% chances of hitting based on the odds. Let me just pull that up for you real quick. So we're all on the same page here. I'm not making this up. 2.5 rounds is 50-50. Over 1.5 is minus 195. Remember, we need 2 rounds. We need 2 full rounds here. So we're going to be at about minus 160, I think. And that is a number that I'm comfortable with. That's better than what we get for most NBA or MLB props. All right. Next, so this will be one that when I make multiple lineups, I'm definitely not. So the tier 3 60%ers, I don't want them in every single or a ton of my lineups. I want to mix them in, but not use them in everything. I want to make some without this, and I have some alternatives as well. All right, next up, Kelvin Gastelum Under 73.5 fantasy score. Less than. Now, here's the deal with this fight. Number one, Kelvin could lose this fight really easily. At the moment, Gastelum, if he loses, he will not hit that number. Of course. He's minus 127 to win the fight. So you might say, hey, this seems skewed against us a little bit. But it's not. So here's the deal. Kelvin Gastelum is a low volume strike, the opposite of Ignacio Bahamondes, right? He's a low volume striker, averaging under 4 strikes per minute. He does not really go for takedowns. And Chris Curtis has 100% takedown defense on his career. So takedowns are unlikely here. Here's the big part. And I think a lot of people don't actually know how the scoring is on PrizePicks. I'll say this again. I said it last week. People don't fully grasp it. The scoring is different on PrizePicks than it is on DraftKings in that they only give, I don't know if you could see this on screen, but they only give 20 points for a decision, not the 30 that DraftKings gives. And what ends up happening is people are misconstruing that. So if this fight goes to decision, he's only getting 20 fantasy points. Where do the other 53.5 points come from? Well, they need to come from significant strikes landed. In order to hit that number, Kelvin Gastelum would need to accumulate 85 plus significant strikes over the course of 3 rounds. Gastelum has only surpassed 67 significant strikes in a 3-round fight once in his very, very long UFC career. Gastelum inside the distance, which is what he needs to do to beat the score. So we have Gastelum losing, we win. And even if Gastelum wins by decision, we win. The only way we're probably going to lose this one is if Gastelum wins inside the distance. Gastelum inside the distance is currently lined at plus 375 for implied probability around 22%. Now, there are some other ways that Gastelum gets here in the score. Like, for example, if Chris Curtis goes for takedowns and Gastelum blocks those takedowns, or if he gets a takedown, there are other ways. But Gastelum inside the distance, you only got a 22% implied probability based on that plus 375. You know, if we add in the other potential ways that he could get there in a decision win, meaning he either blocked a bunch of takedown attempts or went for a submission or two and scored that way, you can add another 10, 12% in there. It leaves us with an implied probability on this play around 65% to hit. That's a tier 2 play, and I'm super confident in it, so we can mix this one in with just about anything. Now, similar situation, you ready for this? With Israel Adesanya in the main event. Okay, so we're going to go Israel Adesanya less than 97.5 fantasy score. Now, here's the thing. It's slightly less good because Adesanya inside the distance is currently lined at plus 300, giving this a meager 25% implied probability of occurring. Adesanya averages just 3.93 strikes landed per minute. There is this thought that he could get maybe 2 takedowns in a fight like this because he got 1 or 2 the last time these guys fought. So he could get a takedown or 2 here. So we have to factor that in. So if we add in 2 takedowns, 612 fantasy points, we're still looking to try to get over 97.5. If the fight goes to decision, that's just 20 points. So where does that leave us, right? 20, let's give him 2 takedowns. That's 32. So now we've got to make up 65 points in strikes. In order to get 60 points in strikes, you need to land 100 significant strikes over the course of 5 rounds. He could do it, but again, if he went for takedowns, that's going to slow it down. In the previous fight, he only landed 87 strikes, and the prop here for significant strikes landed is around 87.5. So the other possibility here, if we wanted to kind of go a different route, would be the under 87.5. But the reason I like fantasy score better is, number one, fantasy score rewards us if Adesanya loses the fight as well, right? If Adesanya loses the fight, he's not going to get there regardless. He could land 100 strikes, lose the fight. So I'm trying to find as many angles as possible that reward us, that give us this win, right? So if Adesanya loses, we win. If Adesanya wins but doesn't land 2 takedowns and 90 significant strikes, we win. And let's say he gets no takedowns. Now he needs about 110 or 150. I can't do the math, but he needs a lot more significant strikes in order to get there. And he is a low volume striker. So all of these reasons give us a lot of outs on this particular leg of our lineup. I love it. I think it's a great spot. Where do the 17 takedowns, takedown, defend it? It's not getting there. This is a tier 3, maybe 2.5, tier 2.5, tier 3 play. Give it between 60 to 65% odds of coming through for us. So I'm going to lean tier 3 here, but I really do like it. One more for you, a bonus. This is our 5-pack. We're going to play this card. But I do have a bonus for you, and that is the Kelvin Gastelum under 2.5. I can't play this in the same card. Under 0.5 takedowns for Kelvin Gastelum. And this one is just a play on Chris Curtis sporting a career 100% takedown defense, his opponent. So I like the fantasy score one a lot better. But if we need another bonus play, I kind of like Gastelum under 0.5 takedowns. The other thing about Kelvin is, and let me pull this up, but he's not an aggressive. I think he averages 1 takedown per fight over the course of his career. Yeah, he's averaging 1 takedown. So where you would think, oh, he's averaging 1, he could hit that. But Chris Curtis's takedown defense at 100%. I don't think Kelvin is going to get a takedown here. Now, again, anything can happen, but I don't think so. If you like what I'm doing here, you like these plays, you want more, make sure to get signed up at DFS Army for our props subscription. We're giving out plays, like I said, here in the Discord, plus EV plays constantly. Got Will Lynn and Sniper hammering them home. What I want you to do with the UFC spots is keep a couple of these in your back pocket, your core plays. Pinheiro, more than 1.5 takedowns. Burns, I really like it. Less than 2.5 takedowns. Ignacio, more than 70 strikes. Any one of these is solid. I would lean heaviest on the Pinheiro play, but the Burns play is really, really good as well. So either one of those can work. Use them to when plays pop up in the Discord. Like I said, during live games, live MLB plays, we're popping out plays all night long. Games are going on. It's like MLB Live, NBA first half, second half. Those plays pop up. You don't have 5 or 6. There's never 5 or 6. Sometimes it's just 1. So you use these to pair up with them when you need one in your back pocket throughout the week. Hopefully these numbers don't change too much. And again, if you want to sign up at DFS Army for the prop subscription, get all these picks, get them earlier, get them all night long. We can't give out, second half play. You can't do that in a video. The ones that are closest to lock are always the best, especially now with NBA going on and the way things are and the speed in which news drops. Our best spots will pop up like off of NBA news, and they're only available for a few minutes. You got to be in the Discord. You got to get the notifications. It's $20 a month to sign up for the props subscription using promo code Pick'em20. The link is in the description below. So if you're not signed up, make sure you do it. If you like the video, please smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel to get these breakdowns. I will see you guys next time. Let's crush some more UFC.